Hello again. Before we go on, there's just time to mention that our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon and Harry Breur. It's performed by Jean-Jacques Perret, who has kindly given his permission for us to use it. Now here's Elizabeth with the first item of sport.
This is rugby union. Saracens boss Mark McCall rued missed opportunities after the men in black were beaten 26-7 by Northampton Saints in the semi-final of the LV equals Cup, 26-7, at Franklin Gardens on Saturday the 8th of March. George Peace's hat-trick, along with 2 penalties from Will Hooley, ensured victory over Sarries, who scored once through Ben Ransom. The visitors, however, dominated the first half and could have been 14-6 up had Marcel Bush's forward pass not been ruled out. It would have been 14-6 to us at that point, so I think it was a case of what might have been today, McCall said after the game. The first 50 minutes of the game we played really well, and I think we had 3 really big opportunities, or it felt that way. We converted one of them, but it got pulled back for a forward pass, and against a team like Northampton, you've got to take chances when they come along. They were very clinical when they got up to our 22. They came away with something every time, and the game just got away from us.
Meanwhile, Enfield Ignatians were in stunning form on Saturday the 8th as they completed a comprehensive 64-10 victory against Basildon in London 2 North East. Ignatians were not at full strength, but, energised by their Allianz Park experience the previous weekend, were rampant throughout the contest. Ignatians visit Lowestoft and Yarmouth in the league on Saturday the 15th, looking to make it back-to-back victories. In another good afternoon for the club, Ignatian seconds cemented their Hearts Middlesex Merit Table 2 title ambitions despite not taking to the field. They obtained a 25-0 default win after Hitchin 2s conceded the fixture. It was a clean sweep for the senior section as the in-form fourths obtained a dramatic last-gasp 34-31 away win over Stevenage seconds in Hearts Middlesex Merit Table 6. The Enfield Ignatians under-9s enjoyed a fruitful trip to the Old Verulamians by winning both games 13-2 and 13-7.
Football. Enfield Town boss George Borg says he can't thank the superb Towners supporters enough as his side prepared for back-to-back home matches in their battle against Reimer Premier relegation. The Towners drew 1-1 with Harrow on Saturday the 8th and completed a 1-0 win against Harrow Borough on Tuesday the 11th. At the time of this recording, with 14 games of the season remaining, Borg's men remain in the drop zone, but their form since the turn of the year has been encouraging. The Enfield manager has stated on several occasions the club face a big challenge to remain in the division, but believes they have given themselves a fighting chance in recent weeks. Borg admits Enfield's home matches are important in their relegation fight and praised the club's fans for their constant backing. The Towners host Hampton and Richmond Borough on Saturday the 15th before welcoming Grays Athletic to the Queen Elizabeth II Stadium the following Tuesday.
Enfield 1893 gave manager Luke Giddings the response he had been looking for as they enjoyed successive victories in their 2 matches in the Essex Senior League. Tuesday the 4th of March had seen the E's endure a miserable night at Barking as they had 2 players sent off on their way to suffering a 4-0 defeat, their heaviest loss of the season. But the players bounced back from this in fine style as they eased to a 3-0 victory at 4th-placed Takeley on Saturday the 8th before coming from behind to meet London APSA 2-1 at home on Tuesday the 11th and strengthen their grip on the 3rd place in the table. Enfield 1893 go to Stansted on Saturday the 15th.
This is hockey, and this is also this happened on Saturday the 8th as well. Rick Gay scored a hat-trick as Southgate took another step towards being crowned champions of the men's conference East of English Hockey League by romping to a 7-0 victory at home to Oxted on Saturday the 8th. Southgate, who remained 3 points clear at the top of the table, hosted third-placed Old Laufonians on Saturday at 2 p.m.
Now it's back to the news with Katherine.
MP Nick Dubois shared his own personal tips for job seeking while hosting the 3rd Enfield Job Fair at Southbury Leisure Centre. The Enfield North representative brought together 32 companies alongside Enfield Job Centre Plus to showcase 350 to 500 jobs to an expected crowd of 800 job seekers on Friday. Among those taking part were Tesco, Barclays and Asda. Whilst recognising the challenges faced by those looking for work, Mr Dubois promoted a mixture of having a strong work ethic and imagination as qualities needed to support any job hunt. Referring to his own endeavours to find work in the 1980s, he explained, "When I started, I took any job. I worked in a betting shop, I was a commission-only sales rep, and then I got my break." He added, "I covered my bedroom walls with rejection letters in the 1990s. You've only got to be lucky once when the circumstances are right, and your hard work pays off." Mr Dubois expressed his views while pointing to promising figures for Enfield unemployment, currently at 5.1%, down from 7.2%. However, he stated that he was keen to bring that figure down further. Enfield Job Centre Plus distributed 3,000 leaflets within the last month to publicise the job fair. Job seeker and law graduate Ezra Cartell, 26, welcomed the job fair to assist with her job hunt. She said, "I don't mind starting off in admin. I have tried, but I just can't seem to get through. I've lost count of the number of applications I've put in. I just want to be able to speak to companies."
Children told the tale of a resourceful young hen and dressed as fictional characters to celebrate World Book Day. Swapping their traditional uniforms for outfits of their favourite book characters, George Spicer Primary School in Southby Road, Enfield, went the extra mile with the whole school joining in on a storytelling session. Organiser Laura Nagel said, "The children have been gathering ideas for the picture books they are creating, and we have used drama and art activities to bring the day to life. The children have also taken part in a book swap, and all 16 classes will take part in a storytelling session of The Little Red Riding Hen. Oh, no, it wasn't that one, sorry. The Little Red Hen as a finale. Not only were children wearing different attire, but teachers have also been dressing up as their favourite book characters. Head teacher Hilary Ballantyne said, "We have celebrated World Book Day in the past, but this year we've put a lot of effort into making this a bigger and a better day. We want to raise the profile of reading and for them to go home or use one of our 2 libraries to read. We have great links with the local libraries as well, which we will continue to use. Reading is an essential skill, whether it's picking up a book or playing a computer game. It affects us every day, and that is why we are putting a lot of time into World Book Day."
A man who tried to engage in an act of bestiality with cows and sheep has avoided jail. Paul Lovell, 61, of Magpie Close, Enfield, who was found guilty of outraging public decency by a jury at Wood Green Crown Court last month, was sentenced on Thursday to 4 months in prison, suspended for 18 months. On January the 30th, it took a jury little over 2 hours to convince the former computer engineer of trying to engage in sexual acts with the farm animals on September the 4th, 2013. During the course of the trial, the court heard from a couple who were trying to have a picnic under an oak tree in a field near Archer's Wood off White Webbs Lane, Enfield. The witnesses called police, who told the court that when they first discovered Lovell lying in the field, he was not wearing trousers or a shirt, and he tried to pull up his shorts as they walked towards him. In his defence, Lovell had told the jury that he was having a nap in the field, and when he woke up he tried to chase between 10 and 12 sheep away from him. He told the police he was just relaxing.
People living in Palmer's Green are taking a stand against proposals to build flats on the site of an old town hall. Southgate Town Hall in Green Lanes was sold to Hollybrook Homes in November 2013, but neighbours are furious with its proposed replacement. Jennifer Yenaris of Palmerston Road has slammed the plans to build a new block of flats, which she said would impinge on her privacy. She said, "When the old town hall was sold off, we feared it would be housing, but there are several issues with the designs. As well as taking away the town hall, there'll be 18 new flats built in 3 to 4 storey high buildings. And this is outrageous and will drastically reduce the view from our garden. Once more, this will invade our privacy, especially in the summer when we're out using the garden. And the people in the flats will be using their balconies. You don't know who is watching." Not only are the residents against the design of the buildings, excuse me, but South West Enfield Action Team Chairman Gonald Daniels is disappointed that the site hasn't been considered for a school. She said the more and more houses that are built, the more services are going to have to be provided. And this is the perfect site for a school in an area which is so short of school places. Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows joined residents protesting against the plans. He said the council sold off the old town hall for a low price. Residents are now faced with having to pay a high price in having a building on their doorstep that not only completely disregards the town hall's architecture, but also ignores the local environment in the area. Residents need to know that the council is looking after their area properly. I've written to the council's planning department to voice my objections to this development. It was a foolish decision to sell off the town hall instead of using it for a school, and it will be equally foolish to approve this plan. The Borough Council spokesman said, "This matter will be fully considered at a forthcoming planning committee, and residents will have the opportunity to comment on the plans for this building ahead of a decision being made. Because of the quasi-judicial nature of the planning process, we are unable to comment on individual applications, but we do have the power to ensure that new builds are proportionate, appropriate, and are compatible with their surroundings. The MP has written to the council urging them to extend the consultation time before the decision being taken at a planning committee."
MP Andy Love has called for improvements to rail infrastructure and more frequent train services as new figures revealed a surge in the number of passengers in his Edmonton constituency. The figures from the Office of Rail Regulation show that the 5 stations in the constituency, Angel Road, Bush Hill Park, Edmonton Green, Ponders End and Silver Street, recorded more than 4.2 million journeys over 2012 to 2013, up from 3.8 million the previous year. There was an increase of about 40,000 at Angel Road and Ponders End, while Edmonton Green experienced a 280,000 rise. Mr. Love said growth in the number of passengers was a result of the wider regeneration of the Lee Valley and urged Abellio Greater Anglia, which runs train services in the area, to improve station facilities and operate a more frequent service. He said, "We don't have a tube station, so the train is what a lot of commuters depend on. These recent figures show just how highly used our stations are, and the growth in use is only going to intensify as the regeneration of the Lee Valley is rolled out. A shuttle service from Seven Sisters could immediately double the frequency of trains at stations like Bush Hill Park and Enfield Town. Train capacity must be improved too." An Abellio Greater Anglia spokeswoman said, "Since the franchise began, we have worked to improve the service, extended the Oyster scheme to more stations, improved customer information and invested in our stations. We have a positive dialogue with Mr. Love and we will continue to explore opportunities for service improvements."
The president of the Rotary International in Great Britain and Ireland, Nan McCready, said, "We are relaunching our UK flood appeal as we know from previous experience that once water levels finally start to drop and the clean-up starts, the real work will begin. For many people, it will be months before they can move back into their homes. Money donated to the fund will be used to provide help with the repair, refurbishment of community facilities and damaged by the floods. Please, if you wish to help us, please make checks payable to RIBI Donation Trust and sent to the Rotary Club of Enfield Chase at Post Office Box 1111, Enfield, EN1 9JW, or visit the Rotary's UK Flood Appeal website. Thank you, Alan Shersby, founder and honorary member from the Enfield Chase Rotary Club.
A topping out ceremony took place at a major new community building in Enfield Lock last week. The Ordnance Unity building on the corner of Ordnance Road and Hertford Road will house a library, a GP surgery and a community space. On Thursday, the roof to the spanking new centre was fixed in place, meaning the building is now watertight and all set for the final raft of works which are scheduled for completion this summer. The multi-purpose centre will replace the previous Ordnance Road Library, which was built in 1976 and demolished in April last year to make way for the new building. To tide bookworms over until the summer, a temporary library has been operating at 65 Ordnance Road. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Public Health, Christine Hamilton, attended the topping out ceremony and said that the new centre would benefit every aspect of the lives of residents in the area. She said the project has been planned with local people, the NHS and the Council. It will soon be complete and established as an indispensable community building for people of all ages to use and enjoy. The contractor responsible for building the eagerly awaited centre said it was on course to complete the project by the summer and was keen to stress the level of community engagement it had experienced during the building process. Jonathan Hall, Construction Director of Graham Construction, said, "We're tremendously proud to be playing our part in delivering this excellent facility for the community in Enfield. There's been a great deal of interest and enthusiasm for the new centre since we started work on the site, and I'm sure it will be warmly welcomed and well utilised by local people. We believe we're delivering a first-class resource for the community which demonstrates our commitment to building a strong relationship with Enfield Council."
This is a letter from A.A. Diamond of Chequers Walk, Waltham Abbey. It's quite a vehement letter, really. He writes, "Spurs hope to build a 500-seater stand." That was in the Advertiser on February the 19th. He writes, "I see that resident Josie O'Ware is again showing her concern for our green belt. What's wrong with that woman? Despite living well away from the site and therefore wouldn't be affected, she has voiced her opinion on a subject that shows her lack of research and understanding. The proposed stand is obviously being built for the comfort and well-being of existing spectators, and it would therefore have no extra impact or congestion on the narrow country road. This is the same concerned resident who was so vociferous when Enfield Football Club were exploring the possibility of moving their then existing facilities to a different part of King George V playing fields. At that time she made no effort to contact the club to find out what was proposed, but then at least it was her concern for the rights of dog walkers and not any additional traffic problems. If she has any children or grandchildren, then I'm sure she wouldn't allow them to partake in that disgusting habit of football."
And this is from Joe Collins, the founder of Chicken Shed. "On Friday, we opened our new spring show to a packed audience. An awfully big performance is aptly named because we have a huge cast, 659 people to be precise. We started to develop this production more than a year ago as part of the initial discussions surrounding how we should celebrate our 40th birthday. I invited input from a huge range of people who have been a part of the work, asking them to highlight what they considered to be the moments from Chicken Shed's production archive that illustrated our essence. The resulting list was vast and diverse, but what was fascinating was the rationale that people attributed to these choices. Whether the impact had been made on them as an audience member or participant, it went to a place that was personal and deep. An awfully big performance comes from the heart of who we are, with everyone contributing to the inspiration of this show. And at Chicken Shed, everyone really does mean everyone, resulting in the awfully big cast. Our aim has been to give our audience a glimpse of our past, present, and most importantly, future. We feel this production beautifully showcases the breadth of Chicken Shed, the talent of the performers, the quality of the work, and we hope that everyone watching will feel a wide range of emotions, from humour through to heartbreak, but always with understanding. We feel extremely lucky to have been able to produce diverse, challenging and entertaining theatre for 40 years. But this has only been possible through the participation of our audiences and everyone who has supported us through our awfully big adventure.
A pensioner says that pressure on hospital beds has resulted in his wife being discharged too early on 2 occasions. Robert Marlborough, 76, of Berkeley Road, Edmonton, said the care that his 77-year-old wife, Pauline, received at Barnet Hospital was atrocious. Mrs. Marlborough, who lives at the Woodbury Manor Care Home in Clay Hill, Enfield, was taken to nearby Chase Farm Hospital 8 weeks ago after she had a nervous breakdown. One of many episodes she has suffered since she lost a baby in the 1970s, her husband told the Advertiser. When mental health doctors discovered she had a chest infection, she was admitted to Barnet Hospital where she stayed for 2 weeks. She was then placed back into the care of the Barnet, Enfield and Haringey Mental Health Trust at Chase Farm in the Ridgeway, Enfield. But shortly afterwards she was taken back to Barnet Hospital because the infection had returned. She was again discharged after 2 weeks to mental health staff at Chase Farm, but was not accepted because her condition had worsened, Mr. Marlborough said. She was transferred instead to a ward at Chase Farm and discharged to her care home after being declared medically fit for 2 weeks ago. However, her chest problems returned on Tuesday last week and she was taken again to North Middlesex University Hospital in Stirling Way, Edmonton. These days, when you are admitted to hospital, it's all about how quickly they can get you out, said Marlborough. The care my wife received at Barnet was atrocious. A spokesman for the Mental Health Trust said it could not comment on the case, but added, if it was felt a patient's physical health required further treatment, we would suggest they remain with the acute trust. Barnet and Chase Farm Hospitals NHS Trust spokeswoman said, a patient is only transferred from Barnet to Chase Farm if a consultant agrees this is the right thing to do. Mr. Marlborough added, the government is under pressure to save money, but in doing so they have lost the love and care that should come with nursing. Mrs. Marlborough is currently undergoing treatment at North Mid.
Improving care for patients with dementia earned a doctor a national award. Dr. Sophie Edwards, a consultant at the North Middlesex University Hospital, won the individual category in the Kate Granger Compassion in Care Awards for her work with dementia patients. Dr. Edwards was nominated for her work developing a way to help patients with dementia build and maintain relationships with ward staff and other health workers. She said, the initiatives we've introduced are all about connecting with the patient. We can learn more about a patient when we know more about them as people, about their life, and that in turn can improve the care we provide. The award is testament to the improvements in the quality of care we provide for patients with dementia. But this is just the start. We must keep on looking for ways in which we can improve. The Kate Granger Awards were created by NHS Employers Organisation and NHS England in honour of the award-winning blogger and NHS doctor Kate Granger. Dr. Granger is a terminally ill cancer patient who regularly tweets and blogs about her treatment and care in the NHS.
I'm writing regarding the state of the roads in Enfield. This is Councillor Joanne Laban, Shadow Cabinet Member for the Environment. Residents have contacted me about the amount of potholes that there are in the borough, and this is just one example, and there's a picture of a pothole. We have Enfield Labour Council pumping out messages about the amount of work it does improving our roads, yet the reality of the condition of them tells a very different story. Potholes are now numerous across the borough. Enfield is an outer London borough with both rural and built-up areas, making it essential that our roads are in a good condition so that we're able to get around, whether it be by car, bike or public transport. And currently our roads are not in the condition they should be. I am asking the council to do its job and mend our roads, because clearly at the moment it is failing to deliver the level of services expected by the tax-paying residents of Enfield. And as I went out today, they were just mending the potholes in my road. So that was nice.
A man suffered back injuries and had to be cut out of his car by firefighters after it collided with another vehicle in Enfield last week. A silver Vauxhall and a dark grey Audi were involved in the collision at the junction of Parsonage Lane, Silver Street and Baker Street at around 9:15 a.m. on Wednesday. 3 fire engines and 2 ambulances attended the scene, as well as a car from the London Ambulance Service and officers from Enfield Police. Firefighters had to cut the roof off the Vauxhall to free the injured man, who was taken to North Middlesex University Hospital in Stirling Way, Edmonton, by paramedics to be treated for back injuries. The driver of the Audi, a 20-year-old woman, was taken to an East London hospital. She was not seriously injured. The driver of the silver Vauxhall was later arrested for a firearms offence. Police said this was unrelated to the cause of the collision. Albert Yarboy, 44, an Enfield Council employee from the Civic Centre nearby, witnessed the crash. He said, "I was walking down the road and I heard a loud bang, and when I looked up, I saw both cars drifting to the same side of the road. The woman in the Audi jumped out of the car straight away and was screaming she had a baby in the back. She opened the back and took the baby and went to sit on a bench on the side of the road. She was hysterical. I went to check on her, and then I walked to the other car. There was a guy in there. Initially, he did not answer. I maintained eye contact with him, and he managed to nod to me after a while." Silver Street was reopened at 11:30 a.m.
More than 97% of children have been offered places at one of their preferred 6 secondary schools in Enfield. A total of 74.8% of pupils were given their first choice of school, more than 5% up on the figure for the rest of London. Overall, 93.4% of first, second and third choices were met, compared to 90% last year. The admissions team dealt with 3,860 on-time applications, of which 3.7 were offered one of their preferred schools. Councillor Aoife O'Han, Cabinet Member for Schools and Young People, said, "This is a place for every child transferring from primary to secondary schools in Enfield this year. I'm delighted that we have been able to satisfy most school preferences. This is down to good planning, and although we cannot meet every wish, we are moving in the right direction, above the London average for preferences."
Well, we've reached the end of our programme for this week. Don't forget, your reader's representative, Diane de Jersey, is on 020 8805 6578 if you need any help with a talking newspaper or have feedback for us. And please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet, and return it to us as soon as possible so we can send out the next edition. And that will be with you in 1 week's time. Thanks for being with us. From me, Elizabeth, Katherine, Audrey and Dave,
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.